Testing one, two, three. Testing one, two, three. My counter doesn't show anyone is here, but I see a couple people in the chat. What's going on, Wild Wayne? Shamina. It's been a long time. Been on a hiatus, I guess you could say. But this Diddy thing done brought me out. I have received a couple messages from folks asking if I was going to be coming live. I just felt now is the time. This is a quick live. I'm just going to read what happened at Diddy's hearing this morning. But I will be back Saturday night with the Warriors. I've talked to everybody, and everybody seems to be on board. So we're going to be talking about Trump Kamala or Trump Harris. We're going to be talking about, of course, more things may come out by the time Saturday gets here. But this is a live, so technically I'm spending a few minutes before I actually get started. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me, Wayne. Testing one, two, three. Can you put a one in the chat if you can hear me? So otherwise, we got a problem. Yes. Fantastic. You might be able to see my big head here in the corner. Hello. Okay, got it. Yeah, it wouldn't even let me. I wasn't even going to use my avatar today, but it wouldn't let me do it if I wanted to. So I guess it was just meant to be. All right. This is a quick live. I'm just going to read the transcript of what happened in court this morning. It was very interesting to hear the back and forth between the defense and the prosecution about whether or not Diddy should be getting bail. And a reporter from Inner City Press on Twitter who was live and in person, I believe, and they had basically let us know who said what and in what order. So, you know what? Anybody coming in on the replay or coming in late, and if we could put this in the chat as well, you can go back into the replay because I'm going to go ahead and get started on this reading this transcript. And I know the music is a little weird too. I'm just trying something different. Okay. I'll just lower that. All right, I got to put my specs on for this. I put Kim up here, so she's smiling from above. Okay. I really do hope at some point they reopen her case, but in the meantime, she is speaking from the grave or from the heavens, I'll say. And I think also what's going on with Diddy is a sign of the new era. We're in the age of Aquarius. It's about truth and justice and light, and about flipping the script on the people, the powers that be, the people who've been running things down here in Sodom and Gomorrah for the longest time. And now things are changing. You remember we dealt with him. This is how I got here on YouTube, dealing with this guy and his cases. I'm wondering if anybody is going to step up for Diddy and start any channels for Diddy in support of Diddy the way they did R. Kelly. What do you think? I doubt it, but you never know. You never know. Okay, so let's get to this transcript here. Ugh, this mug just gets on my nerves. So just to recap and just to make sure everybody's on the same page, as you probably are well aware, Sean Diddy Love Combs has been indicted and arrested on several charges, and he has been denied bail, and he is being remained currently in, I believe, the Manhattan jail. I'm not sure where he's going to go in the meantime, but just based on what I read with regard to his mindset, um, this guy's a piece of work. And like I said, Miss Kim Porter is speaking from the grave. I do feel for the children because I know that this has got to be tough for them. Although it seems that they've had time to prepare, and I'm hoping that he's been using the time wisely with his children. But let's get into it. So, like I said, Inner City Press, you can follow along on the screen. I'm going to switch over here. See if I can make this a little bigger. All right. So, Sean Diddy Combs appeared in court in front of the judge with his defense at his side. And according to Inner City Press reporter, the prosecution's table was full. Okay. They had exhibits that they presented. This was I think this was a picture from the press conference. I don't know if you guys saw the press conference as well. That was interesting. All right. So we're in court. If you guys are new to this channel, I cover a trial, have covered trials from afar as well as from in court. And I will read things sometimes from the courtroom. So we're going to be right now in court. All right. Banging my gavel. Matter of fact, where is my, gotta have something here. My bell. It's been a minute. Pardon me for being rusty, child. All right. Sean Combs is now sitting at the defense table in a black shirt with two U.S. Marshals standing behind him. His lawyer is Mark Agnifilo. I don't know how to pronounce it. Mark A. Prosecutor's table is full. All right. Oh, hold on. Wait. The scrolling is getting out of hand here. Okay, hold on. All right. All rise. Judge Robin F. Tarnofsky presiding. Assistant U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson intros other AUSA. Agnifilo. We represent Sean Love Combs here beside me. Interesting that his attorney refers to him as Sean Love Combs. Charged with certain crimes in an indictment. And looks like they have the indictment here. I have access to Pacer. I had to dust off my Pacer for this. And I believe the full indictment is also listed on the New York Times as well. So you can probably Google it. But the judge says you have a right to be represented by a lawyer for this proceeding and any questioning by authorities. The indictment has 3 counts: racketeering, conspiracy, including sex trafficking, forced labor, bribery, arson, and obstruction of justice. Serious charges. Judge continues. Victim 1 was forced to engage in X acts. You are charged with knowingly transporting an individual to engage in prostitution. Counsel, have you received a copy? Defense says yes. The judge says, Mr. Combs, how do you plead? And Mr. Combs says not guilty. So at this point, he has pled not guilty to the charges, okay? So this is how we're starting this off. Magistrate Judge Tarnofsky says, has Judge Carter set a conference date? AUSA Johnson says yes, Tuesday, September 24th at 10 a.m. So there's a conference date set. This reporter is letting us know the first day of the UN General Assembly. I guess that's what that is. The judge continues, I exclude a Speedy Trial Act time. Until then, we will have a hearing. AUSA Johnson or prosecution. These crimes carry a maximum sentence of life in prison or death. There is a risk of flight and that the person will obstruct. Didn't know that. Whoa. Judge continues, Mr. Combs, the government bears the burden of establishing that you are a danger to the community. Government, Prosecution says the defendant, Sean Combs, abused victims for decades. He used the vast resources of his company to commit and cover up his crimes. Pretrial Services agrees he should be detained after interviewing him. Now he's facing significant charges with mandatory prison time. We request an order of detention. We submitted a detailed letter this morning here. I actually have that letter. It's a 16-page letter. I think I'm going to save that for Saturday because I'm not going to be on here too long today. I do have all the documents though, okay? All right. Prosecution continues. He set up freak-offs, forcing X and during it. If you haven't figured it out, I'm trying to manipulate the words a little bit because YouTube is very sensitive to these things. He also filmed some of them. He stocked the room with narcotics so that females would continue for multiple days. The prosecution, the defendant committed other physical assaults, kidnapping, and arson. He surrounded himself and used firearms. He surrounded himself with and used firearms, including the 3 defaced AR-15s we seized, 1 in LA and 2 in Miami in his bedroom closet. Defaced, of course, meaning that the serial numbers were scratched off or blocked, however they do it. Okay. Come back over to the screen, make sure. Hey, Juti, passing through. I am. Thank you, Shamina. Yeah, I think I'm going to try to stick to this one here. But okay, let's continue. The prosecution continues. The indictment charges bribery and obstruction of justice. Let me give an example. March 5th, 2015, at the Intercontinental Hotel in LA, disclosed in May of this year, this incident is critical. It is a recorded example of his use of force. And of course, we know that is the video of Cassie running down that hotel hallway that shocked the world, right? And we'll get more details about that in the exchange between the attorneys here. The prosecution continues. The victim sought to leave a freak off and she assaulted her. It says, and she assaulted her, but means he. He assaulted her. When hotel security was helping the victim leave the hotel, the defendant attempted to bribe the officer with a handful of cash. The guard refused to be bought. The defendant tried to get the video. The video disappeared from the hotel server. It's not a coincidence. The cover-up continued for another 7 years. There was a civil suit in mid-November 2023 that detailed this assault at the Intercontinental. The defendant denied it, called it lies. We fast forward to the video being publicized. Then the defendant admitted he was involved in this assault. It is clear that you cannot believe him when he denied things. Make no mistake, March 5th is just one example. There are numerous assaults, choking. This freak-off activity is core to this case. The risk of danger in this case is acute. There has been spontaneous violence. So it is difficult to craft any conditions for release. It's this long-standing pattern of abuse entirely undeterred. Witnesses we have interviewed have universally expressed fear. The defendant has contacted witnesses who received grand jury subpoenas. He contacted at least one victim. This constant contact with witnesses on September 10th, a week ago, Don Richards sued. Okay, let me go back. Let's see. The defendant has contacted witnesses who received grand jury subpoenas. He contacted at least one victim. Okay. Witnesses, victims, everybody can get it, right? AUSA goes on to say, before a September 14th statement by Miss Harper, the defendant called her 54 times in one day. Some of the way in which the defendant contacts witness and victims are meant to evade. He uses intermediaries. Okay, so people are doing his bidding for him. And Miss Harper, so that I think is Kalima, who is was Dawn Richards' bandmate in Dirty Money with Diddy, and she's the one who came out and spoke after Dawn released after her accusations came out to say this was not my experience. She's not speaking for me. She just make it basically very clear on wanting to distance herself. But as you see here, they're just saying to the judge that Diddy called this woman 54 times in one day. Now, if that's not harassment, I don't know what is. The prosecution goes on to say the defendant cannot overcome the presumption. On obstruction, courts have revoked bail in this circuit. La Fontaine, feeding a false narrative. R. Kelly was detained. Jeffrey Epstein was detained on conduct going much further back in time. Keith Raniere, detained on all three grounds. Even though the violence was committed by others, his incentive to flee changed when he was arrested last night. You hear that? His incentive to flee changed when he was arrested last night. And I don't know if you saw in the news that they had to arrest him a day earlier than scheduled. They were supposed to arrest him today. So seems they got word that he was planning on bouncing, fleeing, peacing out, chucking up the deuces. Okay. The defendant is a wealthy man. It allows him to flee quickly and without detection. His counsel have taken steps to minimize flight risks to set him up for the argument made today, but then his incentives were entirely different. He flew to New York 2 weeks ago. Again, this is the prosecution in court to the judge saying arguing why he shouldn't get bail. They continue to say here he had what appeared to be narcotics found in his hotel last night, pink powder that have previously tested positive for ecstasy and other drugs. This is a Heartland detention case. His package is woefully inadequate. It only focuses on flight risk. So here they are, the prosecution letting us know that when they raided his hotel room last night, they found drugs, and that pink powder was mentioned previously when they picked up his mule early on, I think earlier in the year, and when those raids took place. So this is serious stuff, man. The government continues, or the prosecution continues. The government has spoken to over 50 witnesses. We have sworn out warrants for cloud accounts. Ooh, they in the clouds. The search have yielded 90 cell phones and 30 other devices, including a surveillance system. The freak offs are corroborated, 300 grand jury subpoenas. Wow. 300 subpoenas. And the freak offs are corroborated. They have been proven. These people, they found all kinds of video. And people, the rumors are that other people, notable people that we know in entertainment, are going to be flushed out in this process. The prosecution continues. The defendant poses a danger to these proceedings through obstruction. He should be detained pending trial. The judge asks Mr. Agnifilo, the defense, he says, I'm going to address the government's letter, but first, on September 5th, Mr. Combs flew to New York. We could tell an indictment was coming in the fall from our meetings with the prosecutor's chiefs. My client flew to New York. I told the prosecutors I'd like him to have the opportunity to turn himself in. So basically, he's saying that Diddy went to New York in anticipation of being arrested. And he was trying to, I guess, make accommodation so that he could turn himself in with some dignity. But that didn't actually happen. Goes on to say, we got involved in this case in March 2024. We've been doing our own investigation. Now, see how far behind they are? Because the feds have been looking at this legitimately or officially since 2009. So the feds have been looking into Diddy since 2009 on the books. And his attorneys are like, look, we just got here in March. Okay. So just know that they're out of their league here. But I guess time is going to tell. They said they've been doing their own investigation. He said on March 13th, I reached out to my colleagues at U.S. Attorney's Office and asked to meet. Oh, he has colleagues at the U.S. Attorney's Office. Interesting. I guess they all know each other. So the November 2023 lawsuit seems connected. It got attention. They read the papers. So that's, of course, Cassie Ventura's lawsuit. He goes on to say, this is Diddy's lawyer talking. After the raids, we took Mr. Combs' passport on April 1st. After that, anytime he traveled domestically, we told the prosecutors. A trip to the graduations in California, another one for whitewater rafting. We wanted to build trust to surrender. They wanted to build trust. So what he's saying here is that basically he was pleading for his client to stay free. We're gonna keep his passports. Trust us. We will watch him. Anytime he wants to move around, we will let you know in advance and we'll get approved or whatever. He's letting us know that all these months they've been bar and pointed at his children. They were marched out of the front of the house with news reporters and helicopters, handcuffed for 2 hours, completely innocent, this man says. We did not want that to happen again. So they didn't want the humiliation. Um, okay. I have to remember how I got that full thing. Hold on one second. Let's see. It's called a rollout. Uh, One second, y'all. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, so he's saying, we wanted to build trust and to surrender. So then he goes on. Mr. Combs flew to New York to say, you want me? I know you want me. Here he is. And what he meant to say is, here I am. So Diddy, like the Joker, when he dressed up like the Joker, here I am. You want me? You want me? So here he is. He's basically letting the judge know that he went, and the prosecution know that he went to New York to show face. And I guess to show that, I'm not hiding. Um, We were worried that he had an airplane. We said we have to sell it. There's a financial management company that deals with these issues. We're trying. So the lawyer is saying that they were doing any and everything they could to keep this guy out of jail. So they didn't want the prosecution to worry about his plane, so they decided to sell it. Um, so really that's all that is he's disclosing. Let me come back over. Hey Chrissy, I miss you too. Let's see, Juti. He doesn't deserve dignity. He robbed dignity from all his victims. Now it's karma's turn to. I agree with that. Thank you for the bells. Yes, please hit the like button coming in. I appreciate you. So yeah, I'm in the courtroom. Inner City Press reporter was in court. Diddy's hearing this morning, and I'm just reading his transcript from the hearing. And right now, his attorney is speaking in defense of what the prosecution had to say about why Diddy should not get bail. And as we know, get it, but this is why. Um, he said, his attorney continued, "Why are we trying to sell the plane? It's not our first rodeo. The plane, someone else is using it from LA to Teterboro tonight. Just my luck. I wouldn't have the temerity to come here and ask for freedom if I didn't have the passports." He sounds like he's all over the place, but I'm going to go on. So the prosecution hops in here and says there's one victim in count two, the ex trafficking charge. Mr. Combs wrote a very large check to someone he was in a relationship with for 10 years. Excuse me. People got in line for their checks. Idea 12 victims. Oh, I'm happy there's only one. I don't know. I don't know. That doesn't make sense to me coming from the prosecution, but let me see. Mr. Combs wrote a very large check, and that check we know was to Cassie, right? Then they're saying people got in line for their checks and that they had no idea there were 12 victims. This could be his attorney. That maybe they mistyped that this was for prosecution, but this person is saying they didn't know. And anyway, so he goes on. His attorney says this case we think is eminently manageable. Pretrial services says he has a criminal record, but he was acquitted. He is ready to do that again. What is Mr. Combs doing in New York? He's here for treatment and therapy. So it took him all of that to say that the reason he was in New York was for treatment and therapy. He should have just said that. Instead, he said he was showing his face. He went through all the stuff about selling the plane. Like, this trial is, if this is the attorney or one of them that is or arming his trial, it's going to be an interesting trial. His lawyer continues, Mr. Combs is not a perfect person. These toxic relationships were mutual, he says. Now he's trying to be better for the rest of his days. If there's one thing we've seen, we should stand with people who are trying to get the help they need. So he's basically putting the blame. I guess they're keeping Cassie, as the other victim here. Um, Basically saying it was a two-way street and it was a mutual toxic give and take between the two of them. He goes on, and he's basically saying, give the man a break. He's trying to get help, and we need to stand with him. Okay. Somehow this hotel footage found its way out. I kind of think this is his attorney speaking, but I'm just going to read what it says. Somehow this hotel footage found its way out. I wonder how that happened. We didn't have it. The government had it. Yeah, this is his attorney. It got out on a day Donald Trump didn't have any court proceedings. Mr. Combs issued an apology. He wanted to do it, but what about the fact that he copped to it? He admitted that was me. He could have easily laid back and said, "Oh, that wasn't me. That was AI. That was doctored." He could have tried to ride that wave. But anyway, his attorney goes on to say two people were in a hotel room. An issue that Mr. Combs had more than one girlfriend. Okay. Victim one, and that's Cassie, was looking through his phone and saw that, then hit him in the head with a cell phone and took his clothing. So he comes out in a towel. So he's basically explaining why he was out in a towel and what had preceded the situation we saw on camera that happened in that hallway, the disgusting abuse that we saw take place. He goes on to say these two people were in love. Victim one ended up marrying the trainer that Mr. Combs got for her. They have been cheating on each other for years, but now she had two kids with the trainer. Years later, she realized she had a good thing with Mr. Combs. Are you kidding me right now? So the lawyer is trying to say she later on realized she had a good thing with Mr. Combs and decided to sue him to get, I guess what he means is financially. She married this trainer. They have two kids, and now she's realizing, man, I really had it good when I was with Puff or with Diddy. No. I know a lot of people do think that, it was a money grab and whatever the case, and people have their opinion. I don't believe that's the case, honestly. I just believe it's his time. And I know a lot of things were going on behind the scenes between those two. Diddy was taunting her all the time on award shows, at the podium, getting an award. He would say something to her like, child. Okay, let me come back over. I got to come and check over here. I have to go. It was nice seeing y'all. Okay, GT, thank you for stopping. Come back and finish the replay. Comment. Much love, boo. All right. So he goes say she has her lawyer call his lawyer and say she has written a book. But if you want to buy the rights, you'll have the rights. But if you want to buy the rights, you'll have the rights for 30 million. Recorded a recorded conversation. It did not go well for her and the lawyer. November 2023, she sues. Huh. So he's saying they got the best of her and her lawyer, but then she turned around and sued them. Well, where is the recording? They could have put that out a long time ago. Um, he goes on to say when he contacts witnesses, it's not to stop a criminal investigation. It's to not be seen that one as one, I guess. Why is it depicted as a one-sided thing? There's 30 million reasons, $1 a piece. She said, I'm going to write a book. You can buy the rights. He goes on, this Don Richard lawsuit and Miss Harper from the same band. The lawsuit says he did a couple of inappropriate things. Miss Harper was not my experience. That is not intimidation. It's recollections. There's nothing wrong with that. He goes on to say, I'm not even sure Don Richard is a witness in this case. My client hasn't done a darn thing. We have interviewed at least 6 of these males. We asked, did it consensual, anyone too drunk or too high? And they all said no. Is it ex trafficking if everyone wants to be there? No. We don't want the federal government in our bedroom. The kidnapping, we spoke to the victim. She didn't use that word to us. One day it may be heard. Mr. Combs employs a security company. What? So is he blaming his security? Mr. Combs has nothing to do with how guns are kept in his house. He needs security in the sections of LA and Miami he lives in. Okay. Did they do it wrong? Not for us to say. Not his gun. Not his gun. So basically, he's like, that's his security's problem, not ours. R. Kelly, that involved children. They cannot consent. Jeffrey Epstein, children. Keith Raniere, children. We have a substantial bail package. Some family members are here. They love him. A $50 million bond secured by a $48 million piece of property. On August 20th, we paid off the $18 million mortgage. And they do have the paperwork confirming that in Pacer. I was wondering why they had a confirmation of the mortgage being paid off in there, but they wanted to show, so they had some legit collateral for him. So they knew this was coming down the pike, and they was doing everything possible to prepare. His attorney goes on. One day we'll have a fair trial. We have substantial defenses to each of these charges. Mr. Combs is handling this head on. He's become a punching. He's built businesses from scratch. His father was killed when he was 2 years old. He earned all of it. Mr. This court's trust. I have nothing else to say. The judge says, Ms. Johnson, any rebuttal? AUSA Johnson says, defense counsel has his critique of law enforcement, but he has not rebutted the presumption that the defendant should be detained. Basically, she's like, all of that, and this fool said nothing. The prosecution goes on 3 days after the November 23rd lawsuit, 2023 lawsuit. The defendant is recorded saying he doesn't want to talk on the phone. It might be tapped. He uses armed security with defaced AR-15 stored in the defendant's personal closet. Absurd. For the record, we are proceeding on a theory of lack of consent, that she was coerced to participate in those acts. The judge says he wouldn't be a danger, would he, if he only engaged in these behaviors with consenting adults? AUSA says we have the hallway video. They're like, let's not forget how abusive this Negro is. His attorney goes on, this is a slippery slope. They're going to say she was coerced. She had to say that to go for the $30 million. We have a serious bail package. I hope your honor can see that Mr. Combs has done things to show that he is trustworthy. What has he done to show he's trustworthy, I wonder? The fact that he's still in the US right now? He continues, I'm asking you to trust me. I have my eye on him. We speak 5 times a day. I want to thank your honor. The judge says, thank you. I'm going to take a short recess and invite pretrial services to join me in the robing room. So the judge leaves the courtroom and they go back to meet with pretrial services. The judge out of the courtroom, it says that the pretrial services, Combs is sitting at the defense table with his lawyer, who is gesturing in front of him, and then the judge comes back in. The judge says, in this case, oh, sorry, counsel's not here. My apologies. They have to wait for the prosecution. The prosecutors then file back into the courthouse and to the front table. And then the judge continues, Mr. Gnifilo, do we need to wait for your partner? He says, I really appreciate it. Okay, so then the judge says, in this case, I find the presumption has not been rebutted. So they say Sean Combs will be detained. The judge says there will be significant violence. Has been. They say they need to get their Twitter thumbs together. There has been significant violence and weapons around, also coercion of witnesses. Even gentle coercion can be effective. The type of behavior we're talking about happens behind closed doors. I thank your family members for coming, but I cannot release him. Okay, so that's how it ended. The prosecution said, for the record, Mr. Combs was arrested at 8:25 p.m. last night. The judge says, thank you. We're adjourned. Okay, so that was the trial. I wonder if they have the press conference here while I'm here. Not the trial, I'm sorry, the hearing. Let's see, press conference. Southern District of New York showing out here. They got their wish to not give bail. Now they deal. Gene Deal is selling that book. Okay, let me turn this music off. Let's see.
As part of this investigation, in March of this year, special agents from HSI executed search warrants at Combs' residences in Miami and Los Angeles. They also executed a warrant for Combs' electronic devices. During those searches, agents seized evidence of the crimes charged in this indictment. They seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 defaced AR-15s and a large capacity drum magazine. They also seized evidence of the freak-offs, electronic devices that contain images and videos of the freak-offs with multiple victims. And they seized cases and cases of the kinds of personal lubricant and baby oil that Combs' staff allegedly used to stock hotel rooms for the freak-offs, more than 1,000 bottles altogether. Here are some of the items that we recovered during the searches.
Wow, not the lubricants.
As part of this investigation, in March of this year, special agents from HSI executed. As you can see here, this is a drum magazine, large capacity, and it contains, I believe, 59 rounds. I mentioned as well, we recovered 3 AR-15s. This is a close-up shot of one of the AR-15s, and you can see right here, the serial number has been thoroughly defaced.
There's some body.
Another picture of more ammunition and parts of 2 AR-15s right there. As you can see here.
So, yeah. What do y'all think? Mitson! I know, right? I know. I was debating doing it, girl. I've been gone for a minute. Shamina, you cleaning? I know. Actually, I'm actually gonna wrap this. I'm just here today to tell y'all back. I'm going to be back. Like I said, Saturday evening. I'm gonna set it up early so you can set your reminders. Make sure you are subscribed. Sometimes YouTube will subscribe you and also unsubscribe you from channels based on your engagement. So make sure you're subscribed here. Like this video for me. Throw me a comment. Let YouTube know that people are here. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's pretty much it. Diddy's in some deep doo doo, honey. Like I said, this is just to me very loudly about our new era that we're in, the age of Aquarius, baby. Yes. Age of Aquarius, truth, light, justice, all those things. Flipping the script on all the demons who have been running this 3D town for the longest. Okay. So pick your sides, people. Pick your sides. But thank you, Shamina. But yeah, like I said, I'll be back. And please let me remind you, go to my community wall. I'm there pretty much every day posting mostly, positive affirmations and things of that nature. But at the same time, I'm there. Okay. So come join me. Just click community in the tab under my channel and you will see my posts. All right. So yeah, let me know what you think about what's going on so far. There's rumors that more people are going to be flushed out. Like I said, more people that we know in entertainment. I did also post on my community wall that Kevin Liles, who is a longtime industry vet, is stepping down. He stepped down today from his executive VP post at Warner Music. I don't think he gave a real reason. Everybody's kind of wondering if it has to do with this Diddy thing. Was he going to end up in Bali with Russell Simmons? They better put that lasso around him before he gets on that private jet. Okay. So we're probably going to see a lot more of that stuff happening. People disappearing, going on long-term trips, international trips, and whatnot, because Diddy is probably going to bring people down with him. I doubt that he's going to take this gracefully on the chin. Okay. I doubt it very seriously. Anyway, enjoy your evening. Peace and love. Till next time. Bye.